Hello everyone, just wanted to do a quick video here to introduce Minecraft education and how you can set it up for the classroom. I am a total noob at this, so what you're going to see today is by no means a full-featured tutorial, but rather it's just going to be how to set up a simple lesson from scratch. So let's dive right in. Alright, so what you're looking at is the main page of Minecraft education, and the first thing we'll do is hit this play button, and you'll see that we have view my worlds. You also have view library. Talk about the other ones in a second. So first we're going to go view my worlds. You'll see that I've already created a world called my world. If you want to create a new lesson, then go to new world, and I'm just going to create new for now. Templates is something that we can also incorporate. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So we go into new and we can name our world. So let's say this is called classroom. You can pick your game mode, survival or creative. Survival allows you to die. You have hearts and you can lose hearts, and you'll also need to eat to stay alive. So if this was just a lesson, I would probably say creative is the best choice. Difficulty, peaceful, or easy or normal or hard. Peaceful is the one where you do not get attacked by zombies and creepers or anything like that. So I would just keep it peaceful if this was a lesson. The permission for the level of players who want to join your world, I think member would be the best one here, because member allows you to be able to interact with the world, to create blocks, to break blocks, and so on, but not full operator mode. Okay, so I will typically say member. And some of these other ones I'll let you play around with. World type, I would typically say flat. The default infinite world type is that you get this kind of terrain, which looks really cool. You get lots of mountains and trees and water and stuff like that. But again, if this was a lesson, I'm just going to constrain it to a flat world. And if we scroll down here a little bit, I will generally turn off friendly fire, meaning that the students will not be able to kill each other. Show coordinates, I want to see where what the coordinates are. And again, I'll let you play around with some of these other things. Mobs are referring to anything that has AI in the game, so animals as well as enemies and anything like that. I'll make it always day, otherwise there's going to be a daylight cycle, so sometimes you'll see it be nighttime, and sometimes you'll see it daytime. I'm just going to make it always day. I'm going to keep inventory, and again, just I'll let you play around with all of these other settings. So some of these other ones are not too important. So I'm going to click play first, and it's going to generate this world for me. Now, since I did select flat, you'll see that this world is completely flat, right? So by hitting H, so if you don't see this thing on the side, by hitting H, you'll be able to see all of the commands that are here. Okay. So one of the first things I want to show you as a computer scientist, this is probably one of the coolest things, is this code builder. So we can write code to actually create stuff in Minecraft education. Okay, so if we hit C, we get something like this. And you'll see that I have a bunch of projects already that I've created, and some of this I'll actually show you in 1 second. But when we create a new project, right, we can say my code. I can just add code on this, right? So probably the easiest way to invoke something is to type it into the chat. So on chat, I'll show you what the chat is in 1 second. If I click run, or sorry, if I enter run, it's going to do whatever's in here, right? So there's a lot of interactions that, again, I would invite you to play around with. The player is yourself, and the agent is something that allows you to be able to build stuff. Right, so we go into agent. The agent allows you to be able to, it'll build things for you, right? So you can tell the agent to move forward by 1 and put down a block, turn left and put down a block, and so on, right? So you can program a house by just telling the agent what to do. An agent, if I break out of this code builder for 1 second, is this guy that's standing right here, right? So this is our agent. So you can program this guy to go forward, to turn left, to turn right, and so on. Right, and so, and by the way I'm moving around here is W, S, A, and D for moving, forward, back, left, and right, and then I can look around by moving the mouse. Right, going back to this code builder, you can see that on the run command, I can have the player, for example, let's say teleport somewhere, right? So I can on run teleport to a particular location. So you can play around with that code, and the good thing is that there are some codes that have been written, that pre-written for you already. So if you look around the internet, you will find these files called MKCD files. So I'm just going to show you one example of this. So there's this website that says building a skyscraper, right? So we have the skyscraper here, and this is the code that basically allows you to build a skyscraper. And so if you download this, you'll be able to import it into Minecraft. And if you click download file, and I've already done that already. So I'm going to take the downloaded file, it's currently in my downloads folder, and I'm going to drag it into here, right? So I have this folder, I have this file called Minecraft Skyscraper that I just downloaded. I'm going to put it in here, and it's creating this project for me. All right, so by default, it doesn't allow you to interact with it. I'm not really sure why that is, but I find that if you just replicate what it says, so I'm not going to type in skyscraper, I'm just going to do sky s, okay? So sky s is what I'm going to type in. I don't want capital. So sky S, and then I'm just gonna take the rest of this code and drag it in here. Okay, so that's the only way I've been able to get it to work properly. Otherwise, it's just a read-only, and I'm not able to interact. I'm not able to do anything with it. So if anybody knows why that is, let me know. Okay, so once again, you have there's a mkcd file that you can download from somewhere, right? Like you can just look it up online, and you can download these files later on in this tutorial here. If you scroll down this tutorial, they also have like a finished version of the skyscraper, which is pretty cool. You can download that as well and drag it in. We can play around with it, right? So so here, if I just run this code, and by the way, here is the JavaScript version of that code, and here is the Python version of that code. So depending on how advanced your students are, you can play around with block programming or advanced programming in Python or in JavaScript. So if you run this, and so if we open up the terminal, and by terminal we have to type in T to bring up the terminal, and if we type in skies, you'll see that there is our skyscraper. All right, so I'm just gonna fly up here to take a look. Okay, so there's our skyscraper. We can go in and take a look at that, and so forth. So there's a lot of things that we can do with this code builder. All right, so so for example, if I wanted a skyscraper that is, I don't know, some amount of width and length, so I can create a variable, and I can pass this variable in as a parameter, as an argument, and instead of going forward 5, I'll make it go forward that many times, because this 5 is, you know, the width and the length. So I'm going to run this again, and this time I'm going to, well, let's actually go a little bit farther away so we can see that there's another skyscraper here. All right, so we'll go about here. We'll bring up the terminal, and we'll press skies again, and this time I'll give it a parameter like 10. And see that we will build a skyscraper that is 10 blocks by 10 blocks, right? So so anyways, that's how you play with Code Builder, but let's start building some other stuff. So let's say you want to start building a lesson, and you want your students to come in and be able to play around with it. All right, so one of the first things I'd like to do is have an area where they can just play, right, where they can interact. In fact, let's say I'm going to use this. Let's say I'm going to use this the skyscraper in some way. Okay, so I'm going to use the skyscraper, and maybe this is like a maze, or it's a series of rooms that they have to pass through. All right, so the first thing we'll do is we'll go into our inventory by pressing E, and in this inventory, there's there is grass, and grass is just what we're standing on right here. But in particular, I want to look for this thing called an NPC. Okay, spawn NPC, and this is going to spawn a teacher. Maybe the teacher also has a blackboard, so I'm going to look for board. I'm going to put it in my inventory here. This is the stuff where we can build our world with, right? So these are just like elements that we can build the world with, and then we can do a sign as well. So let's say I put up a sign, and let's say that's about it for now, right? So so the next thing we'll do is we'll go back into our world by pressing escape, and I'm going to hit slash, which brings up our terminal. Okay, so I'm going to do slash and then WB, and this toggles into our state, which is called a world builder state. So world builder is something that allows us to be able to build our world, to be able to build out our world, to put things in there that our students will be able to interact with. Right, so I'm going to place this egg by pressing the right click mouse button, and you see that we have this person called NPC, and if we right click on this NPC, we can get to name it. So I'm just going to name this person teacher, right? Or you can name it whatever, and then the dialogue, they can actually say something. So hi, I'm your teacher, and today we will blah blah blah. Okay, so this is kind of describing the lesson. All right, so we'll hit enter out of here, and so for now, let's maybe put a blackboard next to him. So blackboard, we'll put it here. You can play around with all of these, and this will just maybe give us some introductions, right? So these are going to be the instructions that you're going to give your students. So we'll put these instructions here, right? And maybe as they come into the room, then they can see that, oh, these are the instructions. Here's my teacher, and I'm going to talk to the teacher, right? So let's say the teacher gives them, so as soon as they come in, hi, I'm your teacher, and today we will do something, right? And let's go to some advanced settings. Now, this is not necessary, but let's say that I want, when they finish speaking to this teacher, when my students finish speaking to this teacher, I want them to be transported directly into this room. Okay, so this room is 0, -60, and -8. I'm just going to take note of those numbers, and I want them to be transported in here for their first lesson, right? So so in here, we'll do, we'll give an advanced setting, and we're going to add a command. Okay, there is a slash command called teleport. Okay, so we'll teleport the player. So @p stands for the player, player, and then I'm going to teleport them to 0, -60, and -8. That was the location that I was at before. Okay, so so good. All right, so my plan is here. All right, so the next thing I'll do is, I imagine I'm a student. I'm going to set world spawn. So I'm going to do set world spawn. So when the students come in, this exact location is where they're going to be spawning, where they're going to start. Okay. So I'm gonna toggle back to world builder, and this is gonna toggle me out of world builder. Okay, so if you take a look, world builder status updated to false. So now I'm a student. Okay, so now I can navigate this world as if I was a student. So I'm going to come over here and let's talk to the teacher. So, or I'm going to read the instructions and I'm going to talk to the teacher. Right. So I'm going to say, I'm going to right click on this and say, hi, I'm your teacher. And today we will blah, blah, blah. And after we read this, we are going to be teleported to that location. Right. So you have been teleported to 0, -6, -60, -8. So this is, maybe we'll have more instructions here. Right. So perhaps if we go back to our world builder, right, perhaps this is where I can put my sign and I can give more instructions. All right, so anyways, hope you get the idea, right? And students can now navigate through here. Now I'm going to go back to being a student for 1 second. Okay, so one of the problems with this is that if you take a look, a student can just come in and break this sign, right? So we probably don't want that to happen. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to, hello pig, we are going to set the world so that it's immutable. So if we hit slash again, we're going to go into our terminal and we're going to hit slash immutable world, and we're going to set this to be true. Okay, so we're going to set the world to be immutable. And now if we are a student, so let's say I'm a student navigating this world, I want to try to break something, I won't be able to do it, right? I won't be able to break anything, and you know, I'll still be able to walk around and still be able to interact with the teacher, right? And the teacher will still be able to teleport me here, but I won't be able to break anything. Okay, now let's say, well, I'm going to go back to world builder, but let's say, oh, I actually want my student to be able to, you know, place blocks or interact or break something over here, right? So we can go back to our inventory. We can take a look at this thing called allow, right? So there are these blocks called allow that basically says that you are allowed to do whatever you want on top of these blocks. So I'm just going to, I'm a world builder right now, so that means I can break stuff, right? So I'm just going to break, let's say this 3x3, and I'm going to put in a bunch of allow blocks. And so as a student now, I will be able to do work on top of these allow blocks. And perhaps you want to, you know, make this whole thing, allow blocks. So if I toggle back to being a student, right? And let's say I go over here and you see that we have a bunch of blocks here, right? That students can play around with. This being education, there's also some chemistry elements that you can have as well. So let's say I just want to put some old planks on there, right? So if I go to 5, by the way, I'm toggling these things by pressing 1 through 5, right? And so I can place the blocks. You see, I can place the blocks here. But if I come over here and I try to place a block, I won't be able to. Right? If I try to break something, I won't be able to. But if I try to break these blocks, I will be able to. Right? Okay, so that's what allow is, and this is kind of a good thing to set for students not to kind of destroy your world. All right, so let's come back out here. Speaking of students destroying your world, I'm going to do one last thing here as a world builder. Right, so I'm going to go back to again being a world builder, and I'm going to my inventory, and I'm going to look for this thing called a border. Okay, so a border, as a world builder, I'm going to go to our 6th inventory item. We can put these borders in, right, so that students won't be able to get past it. Okay, so I'm just going to build a few of these. I'm not the best builder. I'm kind of a noob at this. So let's just build a few more. Let's build out our world. And so anyways, you can see what I mean, right? So I can put a fence around all of this, and we're going to not allow students to get past a certain point here, right? So this is just for completion's sake. Let's build out a few more of these things. All right, so we're good. All right, so let's say we're a student, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to toggle my world builder. Let's say I'm a student, and I come forward, and I won't be able to get past this, right? So this will just allow the students to be contained in one area. It's very much like the classroom. All right, so yeah, even if I fly, I cannot get past this, right? So it's good to kind of build a fence around your lesson. Right, so I'm pretty happy with this. I guess another thing that I could do is I could have another agent here, or I can say like whenever a task is done, I can transport the players to the next room. So maybe something like that. But anyways, this is something that you can play around with, and there's definitely a lot of creativity that we can do with this. All right, so just trying to take a look at if there's anything else I wanted to talk about here. All right, so let's say at this point I'm pretty happy with my world, and what I want to do is export it. Right, so I've set my set my spawn point and everything. So now I'm just going to save and exit. Okay, I'm going to do a save and exit, and if I come back to my worlds, you'll see that classroom is still here. Right, I can click on classroom, go to manage, and I can export. Right, so if I export, this is going to be a world that I can now give to my students. So I can name it classroom.mc world, right? And the student would be able to would be able to bring that in. So so as a student, so let's say I'm a student, and now I come into play, and now I can import, and I can look for that classroom.mc world. All right, so then if you import it, then you're gonna get exactly this, right? They're gonna be able to come in, and they're gonna be able to play it as a member of this world. All right, so I hope that's helpful. I just want to talk about a couple more things here. So one of the last things I want to talk about is templates. So a template is one of these. So you can see that I've downloaded a few of the templates already, right? We scroll down a little bit, and if you look on the internet, there's a lot of templates out there that people have built already. So you may have noticed that when we were building out our world, it was very tedious, right? So it's like, I have to set all of these instructions and things like that. So if we look on templates, you'll see that there are subject kits that are already here for us, like math or science, computer science. I'm going to click into maybe block programming for secondary students. And so you can click in here and you can say, oh, okay, I like, let's say I want to learn about events, or I want to learn about variables or arrays, right? So I'm gonna click on this, and I'm going to create world using this template. Okay, and now it's gonna jump right in, and it's going to, you see, this is a lesson that somebody has already created for us, right? So again, oops, probably shouldn't have done that, but I'm able to interact with this world, and I'm able to talk to the engineer, right? So obviously this world wasn't set as immutable, but we can be a world builder, and we can build on top of that, right? So let's come back to the board. Oops. Deleted whatever's on the board, right? So you can start with that template, and you can go from there, right? This one is not very elaborate. There are templates that are a little bit better than this, but you can basically play around with some of the templates that other people have built, even full lessons that other people have built, and you can just use it as your own. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about here is view library. So there are, again, some libraries here that some people have built, right? So there are whole worlds that people have built. And so you can navigate through this, you can play around with this, and you can change the world however you want. So you can use it as a starting point, and you can build out your world. Okay. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Again, I think the main thing is that we play around with it, and that's how you can learn all of the tools that are in here. All right, so thank you for watching. See you next time.